When we were young, we read more often because we had to. It was the only way for us to get knowledge and to be enlightened. Read to your heart's delight and be enlightened. Let's just read. It's a podcast by Andy's Personal Development. Stay tuned for more reading and enlightenment. Our next guest on Let's Just Read is a Jamaican American writer and indie publisher. Her debut book is entitled How Rice Met Peas. She is Leonie Althea. This book aims to teach children that kindness matters and that we are all unique in our own way. This is our guest. And this is her publication. So, let's welcome this talented and innovative author, Leonie Althea. So we are live on Let's Just Read, and our guest Leonie is here as well. Leonie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for taking the time out to be with us and to come on this episode of Let's Just Read. So, Leonie, what we're going to ask you to do is to go as far back as you can to remember some of your childhood days in Jamaica and what was the experience like laying those foundational years of your life before you became this author of this innovative book that we're going to discuss later on. Tell us a bit about a young.
So I grew up in the parish of St. Catherine, which is a parish right next to Kingston, and I was raised by my grandmother. So my grandmother was very overly protective. She kept me in the house most of the time. So besides school, I was just in the house. So I was always, left to myself to, play and just imagine. So that's where that whole imagination came from. So I would spend a lot of time indoors, talking, doing play by myself, just coming up with stories. And as I got older, I would write little poetry and little songs. So that stuck with me, as I got older and got into a career field. And that imagination that started from then, it just took me to where I am now and led to writing this book.
Okay, great. So tell us, what was the experience that brought you to a place to decide the genre that you're going to choose? I mean, you could have chosen fiction or other different kinds of levels of writing, but why did you step upon that area to deal with mostly children? What caused that decision to be made by you?
I don't think I chose it consciously. It just sort of happened. I believe right before I wrote this book, I was watching programming, some Jamaican programming, and I said in my heart that I would love to write, a book one day or do something that is kind of folklore that incorporates Jamaican culture. And one fine day, I woke up and this story was just there. I didn't sit down and imagine the story. I didn't sit down and imagine the characters. It just was already formed in my heart, and I just wrote it down. I sketched out how the character would look, and from there, I commissioned an artist to do the illustrations from me. So it was a very organic process. I wish I had a more exciting story, but it literally just came to me. I didn't imagine it in my heart. It was just invested in my heart, and I just wrote it down. I did my part, which is to write, do the finished product.
Okay, great, wonderful. Thanks for sharing, Leonie. Now,
Yeah.
what is the main message that you want folks to get? Not just children, but I guess the universal message that you want to send through this publication that you wrote.
So the universal message is showing each other's kindness. That kindness still matters.
Yeah.
Being nice to each other still matters, despite all our differences. Especially in the generation that we're living in, where everyone is so easily canceled for the least
Yeah.
little mistake, that they do. So that's the premise of the book for children and adults alike, and also to have fun, because a lot of the theme in the book are the characters dancing to the reggae beat, having fun with each other. So just a reminder that you can still live, you can still deal with issues of life, but you just have that childlike heart and remember to have fun.
Yeah, great. Thanks for sharing. I understand that. Now, I have been to Jamaica on several occasions. I have friends living in Jamaica. I was introduced to saltfish and ackee, and but you cannot leave out the rice and peas, right? I mean, especially when it
No.
goes with the jerk stuff.
Yes, yes.
How did you incorporate that as the main theme or the main name for the book? How did you come up with that idea to marry it together?
So, growing up, rice and peas is part of Jamaican culture. It's like a staple dish that people cook, usually, big Sunday dinners.
That's
That's
right.
when people would make that. And like I was mentioning before, I didn't actually sit down and formulate an idea that, what, let me see if I could do something with rice and peas and put that in a story. From my background and my faith, I really believe God just put this story in my heart, and it came in
All
one
right.
piece. Because
Okay.
he knows me, he knows the culture, so he gave me a story that resonates with me, that would be authentic to me and the culture that I grew up in. And even the title, How Rice Met Peas, already came to me, and I just wrote it down, how it came to me at that time. But it turned out to be very unique. I've never heard that concept with food, and turning it into an original story of how these two things came to be, and making it fun and making it relate to children as well as adults who grew up in Jamaica, who have Jamaican parents. They can easily relate to it, as well as people who just love Jamaican culture.
Yeah, yeah. Sounds really good. And so that is why I use the term innovative in
Yes.
your introduction, because I think it fairly describes the idea that you came up with. How are you promoting this publication, Leonie? What are the challenges that you're facing getting the book out there, and what are the methods that you're using to do your promotion so that you get the message out?
Mhm. So mainly, I'm working with a PR firm that is helping me promote the books. Doing shows like this,
Yeah.
you know, articles, blogs. But on my own, I've been doing a lot of social media. So that's one of the challenge, to really promote it and get it into the right audience, and also to connect with influencers that have a bigger audience that can share it with their followers. So that's one of the thing I want to do more of, to connect the book with influencers who will be willing to get it into a bigger audience, especially Jamaican audience. That's the primary audience, and then secondarily, people in the diaspora and around the world who love Jamaican culture.
Okay, great. And how has the reception been thus far? What kind of feedback are you getting with regards to the publication?
So far, all the feedback has been great. People that have bought the book and commented on it said it's very unique. That
Hmm.
it really highlights Jamaican culture. That also that it would be a good book in schools for children to read as part of their curriculum. So the
Yeah.
feedback has been very good. Mostly just the uniqueness of the story and how fun and it is to read, because it's a very poetic book. It's written in a poetic form, so it's just an easy read, and it's just fun as you go along in the story and you see the conclusion of how everything comes together.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. Okay, great. So you have a degree from William Patterson University of New Jersey,
Yes.
and is it in marketing and advertising?
So yes, I studied business administration with a concentration in marketing, and I actually work in that field. So
Uh-huh.
I've been using my creativity of writing and words in that career field of marketing and advertising, and putting words together.
Yeah.
So it has paid off.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Is there a possibility of a series coming out of this publication? Is there something else in the works or in the making?
There is a possibility. I have it in my thoughts right now that of a sequel. So the main setting of this book is set in Kingston, Jamaica. So I have
Okay.
a storyline that I would like to broaden out to the countryside of Jamaica, the wider parts of Jamaica. As Rice and Peas continue their journey in Kingston, they eventually make it out to the other rural parts of Jamaica and spread the message of love and kindness. So that's the storyline that I have right now of the sequel that I would like to do.
Okay, great. Sounds wonderful.
Mhm.
What are some of the things that you would like to say to people with regards to what you want them to get from the book? Maybe parents or those who are guardians of children and so on, and would like to relay the information to them from a parental perspective. What are some of the things that you would say to them?
For parents, I would say that it's important to instill values in your children, values of love, kindness, and acceptance of who they are. You know, the first acceptance is accepting yourself. And then
Right.
also accepting other people for who they are. You may not agree with everything they do, but just accepting them as a human being. So I think those are fundamental things that parents, guardians, grandparents should communicate to the children that they're raising. So that would be the main message that I would have for parents. And also that, children need to have a sense of play, adventure, imagination, and fun. And I believe that book, has all of that.
Okay, great. Tell me something, Leonie. Are you able at this time to get into any of the schools in the area that you live and share some of the messages that you just spoke about with children, or maybe some of these non governmental organizations who specialize in the upbringing and the development of children? Are you able to get into that space and share your message as well?
But I haven't started that process yet to get into schools and get with such organizations. So you just gave me an idea with those type of organizations. I haven't thought of it that way. I've
Okay.
been mainly look at it from individuals and schools. So that's part of the work I want to continue to get it more widely available, especially with schools.
Okay. You're also described as an indie publisher. Tell us a bit about that.
So I created a publishing company, and this is the first book that I've published. So
Mm-hmm.
throughout the process, I was, looking for a publishing deal with agencies, and anyone who's been an author that tried that route. It sometimes can be a very hard process and rejection, and not every publisher will give you a deal where you get an advance. Sometimes you have to pay up front
Right.
for things.
Right.
So, throughout that process, I just decided why not try to publish it myself, which was a very hard and tedious process, being the publisher, especially a picture book.
Yeah.
But I did it. I'm proud of myself that I accomplished that goal. So that's what the indie publisher means. I did it independently. You know.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, congrats to you, and I wish you all the best. I hope that you have continued success in that area.
Yes. Thank you.
Continuing on that note, Leonie, are there any other prospective persons, individuals that you have lined up or you plan to approach with regards to your publishing? Because now it's an official company, right?
Yes.
Okay,
It
so
is.
are there any persons that you're going to reach out to with regards to your ability or your desire to publish their publication as well?
For right now, I'm only focusing on my publications because I'm
Okay.
only member of the company. So I would have to get to a point where I have resources and revenue, more revenue to hire staff, if I wanted to make it a publishing company where I publish other authors. You know.
Okay, great.
Mhm.
So you mentioned challenges that you would have faced as an independent publisher. But tell
Mhm.
us, if you were to give anyone advice now, let's say they have a similar idea to yours and they want to get it published, they want to get it out there, what would you advise them to do? What are some of the things that you would tell them would be in their best interest?
I would first advise them to try to go the traditional publishing route.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it's just them as an individual and they've never published or worked in the author space before, it may just be an
Right.
easier process to have someone handle all of the graphic design, making it book ready, the marketing, and all of that. So unless they really have the time or they have some skills where they can publish it on their own, I would recommend that they go the traditional publishing route. If they
Uh-huh.
do, think that they want to do self-publishing, one of the first things that they would have to assess is the size of the book, because when especially a picture book, the size and everything has to line up. When you open the book and you see a image on one side and the other image on the other side, it has to all align so for it to look presentable and professional. And knowing the size of the book that you're doing, would makes a tremendous difference. So some of those things I had to learn the hard way, while I was doing it. So, and also to get help if they're not sure what to do, research on Google, find maybe a book club, because you never know, someone in there probably had published before and they could give you tips so that you won't have to go the long way to learn, figure out everything on your own.
Yeah, great. Thanks for sharing, Leonie. I appreciate that. So,
Yes.
I know, I probably would have given you an idea a while back, but I want to throw out something again to you in addition to that. I've
Yes.
had persons come on as authors, and the publication has been fairly successful. But one of the things that they were looking forward to is getting something like a movie deal or mini TV series because of the impact and the
Hmm.
message that the publication has made. Is that something that you possibly see in your future, or is it something that you had thought about somewhere along the way?
It's something I've thought about. Not so much for this book, like a movie deal or series, but there's a potential that it could be, a children's animation series. But that would require probably more sequels to the book to continue having a storyline to create. But I do envision that for the book, that it could be a cartoon series, animation series that it teaches kids, values and just whatever other elements from the book that could translate to TV that people would
Okay,
watch. Yeah.
okay, yeah, great. Leonie, do you have someone that is playing a mentoring role in your life? You know, we all have that
Hmm.
person, that go-to person with
Hmm.
that still clear voice that can help us make decisions and better choices and so on. Do you
Yeah.
have that person behind you supporting you in that role as you move along?
I have someone more on the like the personal spiritual side, but
Okay,
I do need some more support system in like more the business and creative world, and people
okay.
who are in this space, or maybe just general entrepreneurs. So
Hmm.
I would like to have more of that in my life and going forward.
Okay, great. And how important is that spiritual aspect for you? I observe you mention it about 3 times, so it must have had some positive bearing on your bringing and where you are now. How important it is to you?
It's very important. I grew up, in a Christian household with Christian foundations, so
Yeah.
it's the foundation of where I draw, life from and my strength from. So it's very important. Um, but as far as just me as a person, I like to be very balanced and welcome, everyone regardless of whatever their beliefs or non-beliefs are. But for me, it has, helped me throughout my life, and also with the book, because I mentioned earlier in the segment that I literally did not sit down and imagine writing a children's book
Yeah,
or
yeah,
the
yeah.
storyline. It just came from me, and the only source I could say that come from, that it was just given to me by God. And I'm
Okay,
trying my best to actually put that story out into the public so that it could not just only be like a good book and be known as an author, but it could glorify the one who gave it to me.
wow, that deserves a chair.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So wonderful. So, Leonie, I'm just going to play something for us. It's a very short clip that you are very familiar with, but I want you to tell us how you put it all together. I know you've
Okay.
done the bulk of the publishing and stuff, but it was quite impressive and I believe made a good impact. So, here we go.
From author Leonie Althea comes a children's book for the entire family, How Rice Mint Peas, available on Amazon. People around the world love Jamaican culture, from its vibrant reggae music to authentic Jamaican food like rice and peas. In her debut children's book, Jamaican American author Leonie Althea tells the fascinating tale of how rice mint peas, a story that teaches kids the value of showing love, kindness, and acceptance. Despite being different, rice and peas become best friends as they travel through Kingston, Jamaica, and inspire everyone to be polite, kind, and nice. How Rice Mint Peas is available on Amazon in Kindle and hardcover editions for kids aged 6 to 10. It's perfect for parents, grandparents, and teachers for classroom reading. Come along and explore the adventures of Rice and Peas as they jump and jive to that sweet reggae beat. Order your copy right now on Amazon. How Rice Mint Peas from author Leonie Althea.
Okay, yeah. So there's tell us about that. How did it all come together? I think it was a bit refreshing and quite innovative. As much as the idea for the book was. How did it all come together?
So I wanted to do a book trailer, something that was shareable on social media to like have a video and advertise in the book. So
Yeah,
I was just looking at on some sites where people do gigs, and I found someone that does voiceover or that does radio and media, and I like their voice. And I sent them some images of the book and a script, and that's how it came together. So I just had the thought that I need like something visual to show people, not just a picture of the book itself, but something visual with audio and that could get them excited. So I think
yeah,
it turned out great.
yeah. Like I said, it was refreshing and innovative. And I thought to myself, we just have to get it on in the episode and just get your comments on it. So as you go forward in terms of your personal achievement, what do you see in your immediate future for Leonie Althea? What are some of the things that you actually specify, maybe in a vision or goal that you absolutely need to achieve?
Wow, that's a very good question. Wow, it's a very good question. Well, I could think of some things that I really would like to do. I would like to do a lot more media, not just for like promoting the book, but as far as maybe a career opportunity. So, because I've spent most of my career behind the scenes doing a lot of writing and editing, but going forward, I would love to be more upfront, doing like how you have a talk show and interviewing people. And I discovered that I do have like a talent to do that, and I would like to get into that more. What how am I gonna how to get approach that? I haven't figured out the fine tuning yet of how to get into that, besides doing my own YouTube videos and things of that nature. But I would like to do something more on a broader scale with a TV show and working with kids directly, and traveling, doing speaking engagements and book tours. So that's where I see myself in the immediate future. But challenges, there have been a lot of challenges along the way of really applying those things, making it practical and not just a thought or imagination.
Okay, sounds interesting. So I hope you have much success. It also sounds very inspiring. Thank you for
Mhm.
that, Leonie. How long
You're
has
welcome.
the book been out actually?
So the book, I released it in 2021 during the pandemic. And I did, as soon as I released it, I did have a TV appearance with a local talk show in Jamaica. And the following year I had some success with people buying it online. But honestly, throughout 2022 was just a personally a rough year for me, so I didn't do a lot of marketing. I didn't do a lot of marketing like I would wanted to get it out. So coming into the latter end of 2022 and early 2023, so I'm trying to ramp that up now to really get the publication out there.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. So, Leonie, let's say that you have this megaphone and you have the world's population listening to you,
Yeah.
and you have this platform that whatever you say, everybody on the planet can hear you. What is the most profound message that you would like to share with the world?
It's a lot of pressure you're giving me, Andy. What is
I'm
the
sorry.
most profound message that I would like to share with the world?
Yeah. We
Wow.
all have our pet peeves, right? But
Yeah.
there's always something philosophical that we would like to see in the world. It's a
hmm
change. Maybe it's
hmm
about gender, maybe it's about the economy, maybe it's about race.
hmm
Something that touches us, that is close to our heart, that we'd love to see a different face or different picture of as far as the world is concerned.
hmm
Yeah,
Well, I can speak from just personally from things that I'm going through in my life, and I think this will
uh-huh.
apply to people in the world.
Yeah,
Is really practicing more self compassion,
yeah,
because it's for me and for other people that I observe, it's very easy to be very nice and kind to people, and you could be the most helpful person in the world. You take your shirt off, give it to someone who doesn't have anything, give your money away, help the homeless. It's a lot of people have a very compassionate and caring heart, but then sometimes that same forgiveness and compassion that you give to others, we can be so harsh on ourselves. We can be so hard on ourselves for the least little mistake. We think we should be perfect and everything should just, we should never have a bad outcome. So
Right.
personally, that's one of the things that I'm trying to implement more in my life, is that self-compassion and grace and the same tenderness that applies to others. And so I think we need a lot of that, because increasingly we're seeing suicides from people that on the outside they seem to have everything, have a great life, family, but yet behind closed doors they're still not happy. And I think sometimes the root of that is like a self-hatred and not enough compassion for ourselves, and thinking that, we can give away all of this kindness to everyone, but we still have to apply that kindness to ourselves. So even with writing this book, the theme is kindness and showing love to each other. And then I'm thinking to myself, okay, Leonie, you wrote this book to spread the message of loving kindness and acceptance, but yet I'm not fully applying it to myself. So so that's the thing that I think we really need in the world. Many things we need, but I think if we can have that self-compassion, we will most likely live a better life, be happier with ourselves, and not so much chasing a thing or a relationship to find some joy and happiness. And it should help us be um, more compassionate in the sense where we're not so quick to judge, we're not so quick to cancel people. So yeah, I think it all stems to our own inner peace and happiness.
Yeah. This is what that deserves.
hmm So thank you for that question. Mhm.
Yeah. See how much of that beauty, inner beauty, that was brought out of you? That's
Yes.
important, because you confess that the magic that you want the people to get, the magical message in the book, you
Yeah.
have to actually live it yourself, particularly
Yeah.
as being the author. And that's an important message, not just of humility, but of understanding how one needs to live
hmm
and interact with people in this life. And that's really powerful. It deserves
Yeah.
applause.
hmm
So we are coming down. We just have a couple of minutes to go, and I just want to have a little fun with you, if you don't mind.
yeah.
So I'm going to ask you about Jamaica, and I'm going to ask you about the U.S.
Okay.
I'm asking you based on what I know, my practical experience. So I was introduced to saltfish and ackee, and
Yeah.
then along came rice and peas. Which one would you choose? Which one is your favorite?
Oh wow, I would have to just pick one. Hmm. I mean, for the interest of the book, it would be nice if I said it's rice and peas, but I really love Aki and Saltfish.
Okay, great.
I really love Aki and Saltfish. So maybe that could be the next book, Aki and Saltfish, how it
Ah,
came about, right?
sounds like an idea.
yeah, yeah,
So let's go back to the US of A now.
yeah.
You have ham and cheese, and you have peanut butter and jelly. Which one would you choose?
Both are not my favorite, but I would have to choose the peanut. I'm not the peanut, the ham and cheese.
The ham and cheese.
Yeah.
But why?
Peanut butter is very. It's just too sweet. It's very cloying. I don't know if I'm saying that
Ah,
correctly, but it's yeah. I've never
okay,
gotten into that peanut butter and jelly vibe.
okay, great. So let's go back to Jamaica, right?
yeah.
Would it be cricket or athletics? And when I say cricket, I mean Chris Gayle. And when I say athletics, I mean the bolt.
Definitely track and field. I had a little
Ah,
small little track and field career when I was in prep school and probably my first
okay,
year of high school. So
interesting,
it's always
interesting.
track and field for me.
Okay, great. So let's go back to the US of A now. Would it be baseball or the recently concluded NFL?
I would probably go with NFL. Yeah, NFL to me is more exciting to watch.
Uh-huh.
So I
Okay.
would go with NFL. Not that I don't understand what they're doing on the field, but at least it's more exciting to watch.
Yeah, would you believe that 80% of the people that I interview, they tell me the NFL, some say baseball is too slow, it's too laid
Yeah.
back, you want a little bit of excitement, that kind
hmm
of stuff. A little adrenaline rush, and the
Yeah.
NFL provides it. So you have been an amazing guest, Leonie. Thank you so
Thank you.
much for being so pliable with us on the show. And now I'm going to give you about a minute or so you can tell folks about the publication, where they can get it. And if they need to make contact with you, what's the most effective way on the social media network that they can reach out to you? So go ahead.
Okay, so the book is available on Amazon. How Rice Met Peas available on Amazon. I'm most widely available on Facebook under my name, Leonie Althea. I'm also on Instagram under Leonie Althea as well. And if someone would like to send me a personal message, they can reach me at leoniealthea at gmail.
Okay, great. So I'm just going to give you a quick Oh, great. So this is
Okay.
Andy's personal development, and we are on Let's Just Read live. And our guest has been Leonie Althea. Go and get her book on Amazon, How Rice Met Peas. It is said that this book is an ambassador for Jamaican food, music, and culture, and a loving tribute to Leonie's grandmother, who introduced her to the classic Jamaican dish of rice and peas. So go out there and support Leonie and get a copy of the book. It has been a wonderful show, and we thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, this is Andy of Andy's Personal Development and my guest, Leonie Althea, saying so long, Godspeed, God bless, Namaste. Bye for now.
Thank you, Andy. Bye.
Yeah, hold on a
Yeah.
while, Leo. Let me just end the stream.